Listen, if you feel like your life, or maybe a specific goal you're chasing right now, is just impossibly hard, I need to share something with you that's going to change how you see absolutely everything. And it's this: there is nothing, and I mean literally nothing, that stays hard forever. We're going to dive right into this, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to prove it to you, using things you already do every single day without even a second thought. So, have you ever noticed a pattern in your life where your enthusiasm just hits a total brick wall? You start a new diet, and boom, you're completely done in 2 weeks. Or you start learning a new skill, like coding or a language, and you drop it after a month. Maybe you try to start a side hustle, it gets just a little bit bumpy, and your brain immediately goes, nope, not for me, and you walk away. It is incredibly frustrating, right? But what if the real problem is something else entirely? What if you haven't been failing because those things were actually hard?
To really wrap our heads around this, let's look at something you've already mastered. Think about texting. Right now, you can probably text faster with your thumbs than most people can talk. But think back to the evolution of how you actually learned this. Did that come easy the first time? No way. Think back to your very first smartphone. In month 1, texting probably took you what, 5 minutes just to type out a single coherent sentence? By month 6, you were stumbling, sure, but you started memorizing where the keys were. And a couple of years later, it's completely automatic. This brilliantly illustrates a universal truth. You have already conquered seemingly impossible tasks. I mean, you walk without thinking, but you definitely fell when you learned. You read this text with zero effort, but you used to stumble over words. You drive while holding a full conversation, totally forgetting that you were terrified your first week behind the wheel. See, all of it was hard once.
Section 1. Hard versus new. A really vital difference.
All right, this brings us to a massive paradigm shift. We have been confusing hard with new this entire time. Think about it. Hard feels permanent. It feels overwhelming. It feels like a completely valid reason to quit. And hey, as adults, we earn the right to walk away when things feel permanently difficult. But new? New is entirely different. New is temporary. It's simply unfamiliar territory. It really just means your brain hasn't built the neural pathways to make the task automatic yet. That's all.
The absolute truth is, difficulty has an expiration date. I really want you to let the weight of that realization land for a second. Difficulty is never a permanent state of being. The only reason you don't quit walking when you're a toddler is because life doesn't give you a choice. But the second you become an adult and something gets a bit uncomfortable, a new job, a new relationship, a new business, you use that adult right to walk away. You walk away thinking it's genuinely too hard, when in reality, it's just unfamiliar.
Section 2. Your brain's false alarm. The biology of fear.
So why exactly does stepping into unknown territory feel so terrifying and exhausting? Well, it's not a character flaw, it's biology. A lot of people don't realize that your brain is basically a machine built to save energy. It absolutely hates spending energy on anything unknown, because to our primitive brains, unknown literally means danger. So every single time you step into new territory, your brain sets off a massive alarm. It floods you with anxiety, with self-doubt, with this overwhelming urge to just bail out and go back to bed. The absolutely crucial point here is this: you interpret that alarm as, this is too hard for me. But that alarm is not a true measure of difficulty. It's not a measure of your personal incompetence. It is just a biological flag warning you that this is different from your normal routine.
And this biological false alarm explains so much of our daily struggle. Just look at these moments we constantly mislabel as, I can't. This is exactly why perfectly capable people who switch careers feel like absolute frauds in the first few months, even when they're actually quite good at the job. It's why every single first-time parent feels completely lost and overwhelmed in those early weeks, even when they're doing everything exactly right. It's not incompetence, it's just your brain screaming about the newness, and you're accidentally mislabeling it as I can't. But once you see that difference, man, everything shifts, because new has a deadline, but hard feels forever.
Section 3. The true path to mastery. Moving beyond repetition. Okay, now we really need to talk about personal accountability. Because if everything gets easier, why do some people stay stuck in the exact same field doing the same thing for years without ever getting better? Well, here is the brutal, honest truth. Time alone fixes nothing. Just showing up and repeating a task for years does not guarantee you will ever master it. What actually turns hard into easy isn't just mindless repetition. To build a really clear picture of what actual mastery requires, let's look at the contrast in how we spend our time. Consider someone who works the exact same job unhappily for 20 years. Their focus? Just getting through the day. The details are totally ignored. Failure just causes bitter frustration, and the result is they stay completely mediocre.
Now look at the other path. Someone who spends just 2 years with genuine interest. They actually want to understand why things work. They deeply notice the little details. When they fail, and they absolutely will, they study and analyze that failure instead of just getting mad about it. And the result? They become excellent. Genuine interest is the true catalyst that makes the newness fade away into brilliance.
And that brings us to the mastery equation. What society loves to call natural talent or dumb luck is almost always just these 3 steps. Step 1, consistent repetition. Basically showing up even when the brain's false alarm is blaring. Step 2, maintaining genuine interest long after that initial novelty wears off. And step 3, studying your failures. Look, nobody was born knowing how to play the guitar or write complex code or speak confidently in public. Every single person you admired today was terrible at some point. The only difference is they actually applied this equation.
Section 4. What are you avoiding? Let's take a look at your life. Having seen all of this, I want to bring this right to your doorstep. I want you to intimately reflect on your own life for a second. What are you avoiding lately just because it feels hard? Look at these common illusions of difficulty. Maybe for you it's starting that online course you bought 6 months ago. Or maybe it's having that deeply uncomfortable conversation with a partner or a friend. Maybe it's finally launching that business idea you've been sitting on forever. Or even just opening up a spreadsheet and getting your personal finances in order. We avoid these things because they feel monumental. But I really want to remind you, none of these things are actually hard. They are just new.
This brings us to a quote that I think perfectly summarizes everything we've talked about today. The difficulty you're feeling right now will shrink in direct proportion to how much you commit to it. That is an incredibly freeing truth. It means you are entirely in control of how fast your current difficulty disappears. It's not about being gifted, it's simply about how much you are willing to show up and let yourself get genuinely interested in the process.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Now that you know it's not hard, it's just new, what are you going to do next? Remember this. Everyone you look up to, everyone who makes their craft look completely effortless, was once exactly as lost, as anxious, and as overwhelmed as you might feel right now. The difference between the people who make it and the people who quit is never talent. It's simply who kept showing up after the newness wore off. So what's your next step going to be?